I'm happy to turn off
All right,
video.
folks. Well, hey, welcome and thank you for tuning in tonight. Bless you, Joe.
Yeah, thanks.
As soon as we
Good
go
start.
live, I'm just going to do a real quick short announcement. First off, let me just say tonight's stream is another first look at Depth of Extinction. Now, if I remember correctly, our very first look for the GGDA was Depth of Extinction, and let's see here. Oh boy, I have a lot of links to post here, and not all the streams posted to link it. So you could definitely look that up on the GGDA YouTube channel and see that Depth of Extinction PC launch. And let's see what else today. The Depth of Extinction. You launched beta. Is that correct on the 29th, or did you go full blown?
No, it was a full launch, 27th.
The 27th. My bad. I thought it was the 29th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So looking at some of our past notes here. Okay, the seas have risen. A cataclysmic event has forced humanity to build an undersea environment to survive. Now, 500 years later, we have passed and we are in decline. Pirates, raiders, androids, and worse things scour what is left in these habitats looking to survive. So Mike, he's been working as a software engineer for ages. We're not going to count how many years. But in 2015, he launched Hoff Studios and released a mobile game called Cubicle Run. And then followed that up with a demo for Depth of Extinction in 2016. And according to my notes here, he was planning to release the full game in 2017. There we go. In game development world, everything doesn't always work just perfectly, and like I said, our very first look was back in May 2017 with this. So anyway, he's going to be at SiegeCon, which is this weekend, 2018. You got to come out if you're in Atlanta this weekend. Come on out. If you're interested in game development, check out siegecon.net. That's I before E, so SIEGECON.net. And check out all kinds of things that we got going on here. We've got keynote speakers, James Portnow, with extra credits, and so many other awesome speakers. And and with us we have all kinds. All right, I'm going to stop talking here. But Depth of Extinction, 10% off. Is that right? You got that going on for 10% off?
10% off.
Awesome. 10% off. Go to Steam and search for Depth of Extinction and get yourself 10% off while we're doing this first look. And I'm going to throw one more commercial in everybody's face, and then we're going to get right into picking Mike's brain here. All right? Be right back, folks.
Hey, Paul.
Thank you for your interest in the Georgia Game Developers Association's Patreon campaign. The Georgia Game Developers Association is a nonprofit that focuses on educating both game developers and fans on what is involved in making great games. For years we have put on live events to do just that, attracting some of the greatest thinkers in game development to share their secrets. Recently, we began our live streaming channel on Mixer to expand our ability to reach those developers and gamers far beyond our state. We have seen some initial success, but we are also hearing a lot of requests for more. More workshops, more in-depth interviews, more first looks at indie games, more giveaways, and more great streams. Your support will allow us to do just that. Even at starting levels, we both recognize your support and seek your input on what to stream. At higher levels, you can actually help shape our content, gaining priority access to our speakers, the chance to share announcements, and, at the highest level, running ads and promotions for all our viewers to see. So join now to get the inside scoop on game development and to help shape one of the best game dev channels on the net.
Still will be starting
All
soon.
right, folks.
every
Hey,
Thursday.
we're back. Yeah. Well, it's, everybody else that's with us, it's going to be like a 10 to 30-second delay between real time. But anyways, so here we are tonight's first look at Depth of Extinction, which we're kind of celebrating the launch of Depth of Extinction, so we can kind of get a reflection on things that we saw back when it was first being developed and all the way up to its release and how much has changed. So let's go around the room and everybody introduce themselves real quick. Mike.
I'm Mike Stumhofer. I'm the lead developer and founder of the studio. So I wrote a lot of the code and came up with most of the ideas, maybe just a lot of the ideas, maybe not most, and kind of, manage the project. So.
All right, who else we got with us?
Chris, why don't you go next?
I'm Chris Grubeck. I came on a little bit later in the process and handled a lot of the encounters, like the writing for the encounters and some of the overarching story stuff. So a lot of the writing and kind of more narrative design side of things.
All right, follow it up.
I am Paul McGovern. I was the publisher. Sorry, not the publisher. The producer.
Look at him.
I own the company.
I helped with a lot of hiring the artists, with the art style and with the game world and a lot of ideas, and then I did a lot of beta testing.
He's kind of the producer, basically.
All right.
Right? Is that what you said? Sorry, I thought you said publisher.
I said producer after publisher. Yeah, publisher. Publisher was a slip up.
All right. Well, we also got a couple other voices joining us tonight. Let's go ahead and start with you, Joe.
Yeah, I actually just popped on to say congrats to Mike and find out how solo he really is. And I'm not worried about it anymore after that little introduction. So,
and Joe,
this is good, but congrats.
Awesome. Real quick, Joe, who are you and what do you have? What do you got going on?
Oh, I'm sorry. I am the Joe of Puzzles by Joe. And unlike Hoff Studios, there's no 2 or 3 other people and publisher, producers, artists, whatever. There's an artist occasionally, but that's about it.
So, Joe, just to be fair, nobody else is full-time, just so you know. They all are just working on the side. I'm the only full-timer.
There you go.
You're the only one with a wife that brings in money. Is that what you're telling me?
Oh.
Well, however you want to say it.
Shots fired.
However you want to spin things.
Okay. Well, no, it is good. That's good. I think I am in danger, so I'm
messing with you, Joe. I read a nice quote today that said, "How to make a small fortune in indie games. Start with a large fortune."
I like it.
Great.
That's perfect.
It's a good point. Yeah.
I know Matt with Blue Mammoth can attest to the same thing. I've heard him confess the same thing with Blue Mammoth Studios. Anyways, there's another voice hiding in the background. We don't see him on camera. Andrew.
Hi, I am the most successful indie developer in Georgia. And, I'm the publisher, producer, prima donna of all of these games. No, hi, I'm Andrew Greenberg. I'm executive director of the Georgia Game Developers Association, director of the Siege Conference. And congratulations to the whole Hoff team for an awesome launch, not just on Steam, but itch.io and Good Old Games as well. Good job.
Excellent.
Yeah, congrats, Mike.
Yes, congrats, Mike. Awesome. So, Mike, since last time we've talked, any huge developments or that you want to brag about, or maybe?
So when did we do this? May of 2017.
That's
Is that
correct.
what you said?
It's been like a year and a half since last time we did our first look.
So anything change? Probably everything.
Okay. All right. What would be the biggest, I guess, maybe that you would think? Your
the
epiphany.
only thing that's still the same is it's turn-based.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I think the biggest changes since then are that we redid the classes so that they have a little more personality. There's more classes. We've added more enemy factions. We kind of created an overworld map where there's random encounters. I don't believe that was in the build that we showed. I think this was the build for MomoCon Paul, you probably remember, that had just where you went from, I guess, base to base or something.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I think that the structure of the overworld has changed completely, and we've added just more of everything. I mean, more items, more. The maps are different now than they were. Yeah, it's a lot different. I mean, a year and a half, man. It was a lot different 2 months ago than it is now, to be honest with you. So continue. I mean, seriously, this game has been iterated on quite a bit. So
it just kind of goes to show, you had a plan originally of launching in 2017, sometime in 2017, last time we did our first looks, and now it is, 3/4 of the way of 2018. And you finally got your launch. It just goes to show, the scope, and your vision of when you're building your own game. It may not always work out.
I think the important thing is to continually be working and improving the game, and and set goals for yourself of trying to get the game out. I think that's kind of what I was doing, was more about that, and less about. Definitely am I going to launch on this particular date or whatever, until this last date. That one we were like, we're definitely launching. As of a week before.
Awesome. So what do you think about your reviews on Steam so far? Are you getting to read them all?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've gotten, the reviews are right now kind of mixed. And I think it's, one thing that about Steam, if you've been around, is that a lot of times they're pretty tough on hardcore games initially. So we've got we're definitely going to be doing a balancing update here soon. I think that was one of the biggest complaints, was that there's a couple of things that are kind of out of balance in the game right now. Not so much at the beginning. It's more like if you play, a little further into the game, but I definitely am hearing a ton of positive things. So I believe that we're still going to see a lot more positive reviews come in as time goes on. I mean, I think we were looking at a study that said the average negative review plays 6 hours and the average positive review plays 12 hours. So, and certainly there's a lot of sub 1 hour negative reviews that you're going to get on Steam. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. But
yeah, it definitely goes to show, as a developer, when people are reviewing you on Steam, developers listen, especially indie developers. Just glancing through real quick what you have written up here, your tutorials, you fixed the closed button, character minigun, brakes. Apparently, you're fixing that. Scroll wheel wasn't zooming in and out.
No, I mean, yeah, that was the day one patch.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was fixed on. I believe we put that in beta on the day after launch. Basically, those were some launch day bugs that we saw. I mean, most of them were relatively minor things, but.
All right. How about going multi-language? I'm just glancing right here on Steam right here. One of the first ones, is talking about multi-languages. Are you planning on doing that anytime in the future? I imagine that's a pretty big.
I mean, anything and everything is possible. So I think, for right now, we're just kind of thinking about two things, which is this balancing update that we're going to push out. Probably we'll have something in beta by this weekend, I'd imagine. And then the next thing will be a content update that we're going to do probably in early November.
Just in time for Siege, right?
Well, Siege is actually next weekend, so we will not have anything in time for Siege. But we're actually not. I know you said we're going to be at Siege. We're actually not going to be at Siege.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, stick my own foot in my mouth.
I'm doing a panel on launching a game on Steam. So I'll be there talking, and I will probably be in attendance. But I did not think, and I'm glad I didn't, that I would have the time and energy to do this right after launch. So it's kind of a lot launching a game, and I don't, maybe we can get into this later, how much work did we actually do trying to get ready for this? But yeah, so I think it'll be more in time for DreamHack, which will be the next con that's coming in November. So.
Well, don't forget your party at Siege Thursday night.
Yes, that's true. I will be.
Oh, yeah?
I will be actually. You're right, Andrew. I forgot about that. I will be showing the game Thursday night. So if you want to come out for the Unity meetup, that's Thursday. We have it at Siege, and we're doing it as a game showcase. So it'll be a lot of the games that are going to be in the expo at Siege, but a lot of the ones will not be in the expo. It'll be stuff that's just out of our Unity group, like smaller games, and games like Depth of Extinction. Who are just like a one night only deal. But it's going to be cool. I think Vicarious PR is sponsoring a bar for us, so we're going to come out and grab a couple of drinks and play some indies. Play some indie games. Joe's going to be there with Clutter 10,000 or something.
1,000.
1,000.
And that is the number of unique levels in the game that
Is
are
that the year
randomly
it was
replayable forever.
That's the year it was made. 1,000.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Hey, anybody else feel free to pipe in anytime. Joe.
Well, I'm actually going to head out soon. My wife's coming in the door. The dogs are going crazy, and I really just wanted to say congrats to Mike. I just blown away by his success, and I hope it keeps going.
Yeah, thanks, man. I hope so too.
It gives me hope, actually.
How long till
someday...
Depth of Clutter crossover?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, anyways, I'm going to say goodbye, but congrats, and I think it's going to be the best Siege ever. So I'm looking forward to that.
I know, man. It's exciting. Should be a fun time.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Come to the rants. Bye-bye.
Yes. See you, Joe. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
And that was Joe. All right, so now we're down to 4.
and then just going to drop off one by one. Like a horror film.
Well, I mean, I think maybe, Chris could talk also a little bit about, I said the overworld map and the encounters and stuff was one of the big changes we made. Chris, you want to kind of walk us through how you came to be on the team? And
yeah, so I moved to Georgia about 2 years ago, and kind of I'd always seen the kind of meetups for the local game communities and stuff, but just for whatever reason, it's always on Tuesday night, and I was always busy. And, I ended up finally having some free time to go, and ended up meeting Mike, and we kind of started talking about the game. And I had worked on another game called Tokyo Dark that did well on Steam. It's getting a console release now. And so we kind of got to talking about, the writing side of the game, and how it kind of needed a bit more, I guess, push with that aspect of the game. And so we kind of talked, and I played the game for a bit. We just kind of got to talking about how to kind of marry all of the gameplay concepts that were already there, and the kind of the world that was there, and just kind of give it a bit more direction and give it a bit more flavor. And we ended up kind of through a lot of different kind of brainstorming and iterations, we ended up kind of coming up with a encounter system that was really just, I think I've said it before, but I was really channeling my inner dungeon master and kind of just coming up, like when if anyone out there has played D&D, you come up with those situations where you're like, okay, you encounter this, and this is in front of you, and you have these ways to go into it. What do you do? And I think that was kind of my goal of like kind of adding that little kind of more story-based kind of RPG aspect to it, and again, just kind of make the world feel a little bit more lived in and give it more flavor. And it's something that, and I think with indie games, when they come out, they're not done. It's not like AAA releases where, when they're out, they're pretty much done. There's still a lot more I'd love to add to the game, and I think we will in the coming months. So yeah, I'm excited about it, and I think it adds a little extra flavor to it.
Yeah, certainly one of the things that I think you've done very well with this is creating an IP that can last beyond one game. It was certainly a bit of a world there when you first showed it to us. But from what I've seen so far, it's expanded dramatically, and there's a lot more you can do with this. And I think that for most indie devs, that's about the most valuable thing they can have come out of a first launch. Joe is good proof of that. He's created this entire Clutter IP that supports them very well, and I can see a lot of wonderful things happening in the DOE universe as you move forward.
Yeah, and the person who came up with the initial idea was Paul. Actually, Paul, you want to walk us through maybe what your thought process was there?
Well, I just thought that this was a world that hasn't been explored before, as far as
except by Kevin Costner.
I wasn't going to mention that. Come on.
Well, that was above the water.
Yeah, that was like wood and stuff.
Right.
Separate.
Everybody's floating on top of water. Now we're underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we wanted it to be a little more cyberpunk than like whatever shabby punk.
yeah, I was thinking more, something along the lines of The Abyss.
Yeah.
And Aliens as far as the combat feel and everything. And so, I think that's something we captured pretty well. A lot of the art style came from kind of a mashup of games like Soma and Metal Gear Solid. And I don't know, I think that we did a really good job developing the world, and I think we've had a really successful launch, and we've got a lot of sales, a lot of wish lists, and so I'm pretty proud of it. It's a matter of what we're going to do with it now.
I definitely felt some of the Alien influence on the very first look, taking a look at it. But to go from there, are you brainstorming on where you're going to go next at all? Like as Andrew was saying, this has definitely got a lot more room to breathe.
Yeah, we have a ton of stuff that really got left on the cutting room floor here, to be honest with you. There's like, a couple of different enemy types that we really didn't get to explore completely. And I think even the ones that we did put in the game, there's a ton of room left to mess around with them. I think the cultists, we could do a lot more with than what we did. And that's actually another new faction since I showed you the game, the cultists.
Cool.
And,
do you want to show us the game and where we're going?
Yeah, sure, man.
Some of the newest improvements since May of last year.
Since May of last year. We'll have to see what happens. It's all random, so I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea.
I like random.
Well, it's funny, too, because I came on this year, and I feel that the game has changed tremendously since I came on. So it's I can't even think of what it was, the last time you saw it.
Well, you can probably go back and watch the video.
Yes, you can. You can go to youtube.com/GG or Georgia Game Devs and find it.
So
no problem.
What a fool I am.
One of the things I was going to do was kind of put together like a retrospective of just the trailers for the game, because that kind of shows you a lot of the progression too.
Yeah.
The game, there was like 4 different trailers, and I think that would be pretty hilarious for like maybe in a couple of months. I'll try to put some of this stuff together. Am I live with the game?
No, you still got to share your screen.
Oh, right. I got to share my screen.
Yeah, so, fancy little button. So wave goodbye to everybody else's face for now. And here we go. Oh, hey, wait a minute. Let's not look at my ugly mug. Let's look at the game. Here we go. All right. You got it.
Am I sharing?
Yes, you are. We see your game. We're good.
Okay, at least I'm not sharing my Discord or something.
Nope, looks good. Looks good. I also like the kind of I'm seeing this graphics like is that waves or is that like supposed to be digital glitches or what?
The background?
Yeah,
it's a map.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a map.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. No, I kind of notice these little things. I want to make sure it's not my end on Skype going crazy. So, but no, that's something you literally programmed into the background.
Yeah. This is just a map that just kind of orient you to where you are in the world. So in this case, we've got a team. Everybody's in a sub, and you're kind of exploring the world as you travel through the map. So we can choose one of these map nodes. We're heading towards this destination. That's the yellow dot over here, and we're fighting the feral androids, as you can see on this. So I have a lot of choice. It sort of navigates, what a lot of people have said is it's kind of similar to FTL, at least in how you navigate through the world. So we can kind of choose our own path. So we can either head toward this hostile zone or an uninhabited zone. I think I'm going to head towards the uninhabited because I want to show off a particular map that shows up there more often. So you see my sub move. We zoom in on the map. Now we've got some more nodes we can choose from. These are the different types of buildings that are in this area. And then over here is our team. So I have this in the top right corner, or top left corner, excuse me, is the class of the character. So this is a Deadeye. We've got an Assault. We've got a Wildcat, and we've got a Wrecker on this team. There's actually 8 different classes in the game right now. We're going to do 2 more in content updates. And so we can see, like, the Wrecker, he uses a minigun. He's got some cool skills. Actually, in this case, he's only up to level 1 right now, so we haven't really unlocked much of his skill tree. But he can do some pretty sweet stuff, like do extra damage on grenades. He can destroy cover. If he destroys 3 pieces of cover in 1 turn, he gets a free action. The Wildcat uses the SMG. So in this case, she is shooting machine guns. She's level 2, so we've leveled her up a little bit. She's got a cool skill called Bullet Hell. Lets her fire all her remaining bullets at enemies in range. And then Assault also has some pretty cool skills. So this one, we're up to level 2 also. So we got Snapshot and Hit and Run. So Snapshot lets me take a shot for free, but it reduces my hit chance a little bit, kind of like a quick shot. The Hit and Run, I can move. If I move and I got a kill, then I get another move. So basically, I can take a risk to make a kill. I can, move out in the open, but then I can still possibly get back into cover. And then Deadeye is our sniper. Has a rusty sniper rifle and scope in this case. Deadeye's first skill is a sentry, so you get a little bit of bonus to damage in your aim if you haven't moved before you fire. And then we've got some other cool stuff, like her level 3 skill, or her level 5 skill, excuse me, is a kill shot. So if she gets a kill, then she gets another shot. So let's check out, we'll do this industrial.
So here's while we're on our way real quick, just want to tell our viewers, be sure to type in chat if you have any questions for these developers. Just post them in chat, and we'll pass them forward. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So this is kind of the encounter system that Chris was talking about. So left to fall in the ruin, this android base was abandoned mid-construction along with all the workers and guard bots assigned to the project. So we can either explore the base or leave the area. So let's explore the base. Your team is deep in the facility when one accidentally kicks a can into a dormant android. All the feral androids in the facility rapidly whir to life. You'll have to fight your way out. Oh, crap. I'm in real trouble now.
Yeah.
This is bad. All right, so now we're on a mission loadout screen. I better check my equipment. Let's see. So Shocker's got a fireproof suit. Maybe I'll actually give Shocker... No, that's fine. We'll do Spider and have the rusty light armor. You got a blood transfusion. How do you balance a character so it won't be overpowered? So, some of our reviews think that we don't know the answer to that question. We have some issues with that right now with some of the higher level classes. There's some interactions with skills that are making them a little overpowered. We're going to address that though in this balancing update that's coming out. So how do we approach that? I think you got to play test it. I think that's the only way. And with a game as complex as this and a team as small as ours, it's really hard to try to figure out everything ahead of time. And so we went from like basically having about, we did a first access with the game where we sold about 300 and something keys. But really this version of the game, as everyone has said, myself and Chris, that the game has changed a lot recently. Probably only about 100 people total played this particular, with these classes and stuff beforehand. And really we only got feedback from about 15 probably, like detailed feedback. And so toward the end, we started to pick up on a couple of like overpowered combinations of things, but we didn't want to make any changes at that point because we were just a little nervous we would break something. So but now we definitely so we went from like overnight, like 100 people and 15 feedbacks to like thousands of people and like hundreds of people giving us feedback. So now all of a sudden we are very acutely aware of many more things that are a little bit overpowered. So I think it's, especially when you're an indie trying to make an RPG like this, it's really hard to not wind up in an overpowered situation a little bit.
Well, it's funny too.
Like Chris said, the game is not done yet, so we are going to have time to make some adjustments. And look, I just put a ballistic mask on Shocker. It's like the icon's not right on that one.
I think that was something we were talking. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, even the encounter system itself, like, we've had to kind of balance because we're writing all of these different outcomes, and there's a certain, like, so when he clicked on like explore the area, there's a certain percentage chance that certain things are going to happen. It's not going to be the same thing every time. And we found that, what we thought was a good balance, like when people play it, it's just, completely different than what we thought. So even within like the more kind of like story, like, what are people actually experiencing, like turn to turn and as they explore, has been really kind of way different once people actually like got their hands on it and started playing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we kind of keep an eye on that too. We get a report every week of what's going on with the encounter system to help us try and balance it a little bit better. So there's actually like a ton of different things that are having to be balanced all at the same time. It's definitely complicated. I know we haven't got it perfect, that's for sure, but we're working on it and continuing to refine that stuff. So you can see actually, I've got the map open here in the top right, and I'm kind of looking at how I'm going to get out of here. You can see the yellow dot is my goal. It's all the way up here. That's where my sub is. So in this mission, you're exploring the area, and you didn't realize the enemies were around, and they trapped you in here. So you got to try to fight your way out.
So we got to be on the surface since it's raining, right?
Yeah, we are on the surface. You can see the water. Yeah, these are what we call the platform levels. This is a map that is more open. There are some like doors and things where you have to go in. You can go into rooms and stuff, but for the most part, these are kind of like ruined buildings. Like you can see, kind of the edge of the building is all destroyed, and but like people have built catwalks over them to try to connect them. So let's see. So we got a fuel there. I think I'm going to head for. So right now, I mean, the important thing on this kind of mission is to kind of establish a kind of a perimeter and be ready for attackers to show up. So we're going to have to do that. I've got my sniper here. I think I'm going to have to put my sniper in a little nest over here, and we'll overwatch.
On your guard.
And I've got my wrecker. The wrecker is actually trapped over here right now because we've got to destroy some cover. So I think that's what we'll do first with the wrecker, is kind of get rid of this piece of cover here. Move them over here. And you can actually, the wrecker is kind of a cool class because look, the minigun, you can aim at a particular area. You don't have to target a particular enemy. You aim and it does damage to an entire area. So if I fire here, and it destroyed all the cover except the one I wanted to destroy. So here is my assault. You can see, I think it's a she. She's got a shotgun. The shotgun is more of a close-range weapon, as you know. So I'm going to keep her over here. And let's get the Wildcat. All right, so now the enemy gets their turn.
You done a lot of improvement to your AI since last time we talked?
Yeah, the AI has been completely re-engineered.
Oh yeah? Who's in charge? Who's the blame for that?
Kevin Dressel actually works on the AI.
Okay, he was the one with us last time?
Yeah, he couldn't join us. Let me see if he's on. I don't know if he got in the chat. Maybe he could join us. No, I don't think he's on.
That's okay. I was just curious. Very cool.
He's in Twitch.
Oh, he is. We can invite him.
There's another shiny dolphin. Oh, he just fell out. We called him out and he disappeared.
He got upset. He didn't want to join. Let's see if I can add him.
Oh God, they're gonna start talking about my work. I better leave, right?
Let's see.
Shiny Dolphin Games. Yes, he's in chat.
Let's see if I can add him. He doesn't want it. He probably doesn't want to join, but I'm gonna try.
I feel like that's a painful experience that every first time, like the first game you work on, like when it gets released, when you start reading reviews.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's
good though. I mean, it's something that we all have to do and we all have to kind of get over, but it's always like it's a little painful when you see those those nasty ones.
The fully professional game developers, that say like your game is bad.
It's good though.
Yeah, well, tell us what is bad about it.
The reality is not
it's
every
always
like
a little painful when you see those nasty ones.
I think we got some
Yeah, we got a little bit of a
What we got going on here?
echo going on.
Someone needs a headphone.
Is that Kevin?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, who do I need to mute?
Kevin.
Hi.
I think we were getting some reverb.
Yeah, I had it on the TV. I had to turn off the stream because it's. But yeah, hello.
Hey, welcome back to First Look,
I took
First
the
Look.
liberty of adding you.
No worries.
They were
I
asking.
heard the AI question, so.
Yeah.
I feel you should address the AI before we get into a rant.
Let's see. I'm gonna
Well, welcome back, Kevin.
Thank you.
No mercy. All right, let's just move it right up here.
So, Kevin, what was your biggest milestones, or one of the biggest things you'd like to brag about when it comes to the AI, compared to the last stream we did back in May 2017?
Man, God, yeah, like I have to remember what we did, honestly. There was follow mode that I guess we haven't talked about yet, but yeah. I know I did some AI changes too. It's all a blur at this point. Mike, what did we do?
Yeah, the follow mode. Unfortunately, this particular type of mission follow mode is kind of off because we're on medium. But this is it, where you can choose like a leader and a follower. And it's kind of like an RPG, you know how they'll follow you around, except imagine in XCOM if you only had to move one character at a time. Instead of having to move each character,
In between combat.
Yeah, in between combat. Not in combat. We let you control everything once enemies come in. Let's see, who do I want to lead? Let's let the assault lead. And then you can also choose between offensive and defensive. So if you put it in defensive, they'll try to stay in cover. Offensive, they'll just try to stay close to the point man.
That is definitely new. That was not in last year's.
No, this is brand new. This wasn't in 3 months ago.
Yeah, this was a very late ad.
I think it was really a differentiator, though. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, loads of people are really praising that, and I mean, I can think of moments in, even playing like XCOM that like that feature would have been super useful.
That'll probably be the one thing people will copy from us.
I hope.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. Hopefully we'll see it in an XCOM someday or something. I did think of one of the things we did to the AI. The AI has a very simple look-ahead system now. So they predict what the player might do on the next turn and then try and compensate for that. That'll keep them from getting flanked, usually.
Ooh.
There were some performance challenges with that. They sort of randomly miss possible moves from the player, and that can sometimes lead to bad choices, but it works pretty well most of the time.
Yeah, it's kind of like a chess program would have something like this,
Yeah, but we go way less deep than you would in chess. We only go one level down. And that was really the game is so complicated. It's just hard to explore the tree.
Yeah, the board is very limited in chess. That's the difference. I mean, the board is huge here, you know, and there's way more possible outcomes. All right, I spotted some loot. Gotta keep this guy. I don't know where all the enemies are. I only counted one. They're like hiding from me. Oh, there.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a trap.
Well, I think it's because these are a little more cautious. They're probably hanging back.
I feel like I remember early on when we were doing the encounter system, you wanted to make some tweaks to the way trap encounters worked, like early in the game, because it was so easy to get wiped out.
Yes, I did. I just took them out of the easy missions. This is I think this is a medium, though. Hang on, I'll check it. Yeah, so this is a medium. This would be the first time you would probably encounter one of these type of missions. We added these doors also. That's another new thing. I see the loot. Somebody grab it.
Your art influence seems to have kind of upgraded a little bit too since last time. I mean, you still are hanging on to that retro-ish, feel, but I don't know. Like I said, it's been a year. It's been over a year since last time I got to look at you.
Yeah, on the art side, the new thing are these portraits. Like those are definitely new. The UI is a little bit more refined, I think. So yeah, like we used to just show the sprites everywhere, but now we've got the portraits. So actually every character has like two different things. So whatever equipment you have will show, or like your avatar will show in the portrait and here. So like you can see the Deadeye has a little eye piece that goes over there. Like Spider has a hat, which you can kind of see when I zoom in here. He's wearing the hat there, and he's also got it in the portrait. And same thing with Shocker.
It's cool.
Yeah, you can kind of see that. But yeah, I think that added a lot to the look. It looks much cooler now to have kind of the portraits showing. Kind of gives you a better idea of what the characters look like in real life in terms of instead of just seeing little pixels. All right, let's see if I can hit these guys. 40%. That's not very good.
So what character is being most popular for whatever reason?
That's a good question. I have stats on that. I haven't checked it in a little while. At one point it was the Deadeye, but then I feel like Wildcat and Wrecker are probably the ones that people seem to like the most. I don't know. What have you heard, Paul?
Well, I mean, some people love Assault because it lets them beat the game really easily, and some people hate Assault because it lets them beat the game really easily. And I think people feel pretty similar about the Sniper class and the Wildcat class. So I don't know what people's favorite class is. I guess
I'm using
maybe
bullet
Soldier.
now.
Let's talk a little bit about the metrics you are collecting and how you're collecting them. What are you tracking and how are you getting that information?
I'm using Google Analytics, actually, for, Google has like a mobile app analytics, and you can use it within Unity using an asset called Google Universal Analytics. And we track pretty much everything through events. Like, for instance, I can tell you that almost all of our piracy is through GOG. Because I can tell you that,
of course,
we definitely did not sell almost the same amount of GOG as we did on Steam, and yet somehow we have almost as many players. It's kind of funny how that worked out.
Yeah. So how soon was it that you noticed that you'd been pirated?
I mean, you've been pirated. If your game is remotely popular, it's pirated. I mean,
it's inevitable.
It's inevitable, and there's nothing you can do. So there's no point in trying it. It's mostly in developing countries where they couldn't afford to buy your game anyway. So I personally don't really have any problem with it. I don't think that it really cannibalizes sales. I mean, the people who buy games are going to buy games. People who pirate games are going to pirate games. They're not going to just suddenly buy the game if you put DRM on it, you know?
Yeah, I think the only people who would make an active effort to pirate is if you did something really terrible, you know, towards the community that was very, like, kind of anti-gaming community, and then people would, like, do it through point. But I think, like you said, it's kind of an inevitable part of game development at this point.
Do you feel like the pirated versions can help boost your sales eventually, like, you know, through popularity?
I mean, it's possible. I don't know. I don't know enough about that, to be honest with you, to really even guess. I'm not sure. But like I said, I mean, I don't feel like it's going to cost me any sales. So and really, what can I do anyway? Even if I paid a lawyer to send a cease and desist out, it's just going to pop up on. So I'd have to send out 100 of them a day or something, you know. So it doesn't really make any sense for me to worry about that. I can show. I don't know if I could show some data.
That's okay. I still don't want you to skip out on some of your favorite content in the game. So.
Yeah, I was just going to pull up and tell you who was the most popular class.
I'll only ask about, well, because you mentioned it, and right about your release time, there was a post on Reddit that said, "Yeah, I just released my game and noticed it was pirated."
Oh, I saw that post. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was just funny how it was really close to the same time as your release, and I was like, it's not Matt. I'm sure, or Mike. I'm sure it's not him.
No, I didn't make any posts, but yeah. So Deadeye is still number 1. Soldier is number 2. Assault, and then Wrecker. Wow, I would have thought Wildcat would be higher.
I will say one thing. One thing I'm excited to start adding more of is we've got some encounters where you get class-specific, like, outcomes and class-specific options for approaching certain scenarios. I definitely, you know, in getting everything ready for release, we didn't have time to do as much of that as I would like. So I think whatever the favorite classes ended up being, I would hope that we can bolster that with some kind of unique story, you know, as well.
The cool thing I saw the other day, I was looking on a message board and somebody was made a comment and said, "Oh, I don't see any of that." And then someone else said, "Oh, I just got one," and he showed it. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah, and I feel, I mean, not to spoil the magic, you know, the magician never reveals the secrets and whatnot, but, like, I feel like there's certain things we can do that won't be difficult to really add in a lot of that stuff into the game.
Great ways to add replayability.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the things you had to do to get ready for launch. Can you talk a little bit more about that whole launch process? Just what were you sweating? What were you focusing on? What required more attention than you thought?
I'll let Mike handle that because I feel that all the sweating was 90% Mike sweat. So.
Yeah, I mean, looks like we killed them all. Let's get the loot. I mean, I think it's a tough question. I was personally working quite a bit for about the last 2 months. I really worked like 7 days a week, and from the time I get up until the time I go to sleep, I'm pretty much working. So it's been pretty stressful to do that. I had to take a couple of days off after the launch. I couldn't keep going. So we did the bug fix release, and then I was like, I gotta take a day off because yesterday was my birthday actually too.
Hey, that's right. I noticed. Congratulations, you leveled up.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah, I leveled up. Pretty good.
What do you think was your most successful marketing campaign?
Yeah, I should have used that as a marketing campaign. Oh, so here's the problem.
Hey, it's my birthday. Buy my game.
So did you notice, like, I didn't have to move, and this guy moved down here to pick up loot. That's the other cool thing they'll do. They reload automatically. They pick up loot automatically. I mean, I think the thing... Oh, see, look. I went and found a piece of loot I forgot about. Let's get out of here. All right. I mean, I kind of knew what I was getting into. I've been doing software engineering for a long time, so I've done a lot of launches. I launched a game before, obviously not on this level, and I feel like, we launched a demo for Depth of Extinction. I think you mentioned like almost 2 years ago now. But this game has grown so much; it's so big. The one thing I did a kind of a major refactor over the summer, and I really was committed to making the game more testable, to make it so that I could write a bunch of unit tests and then feel more confident that when I made changes, I had regression testing in place. And I think that was one of the big things that really helped make the game happen. The other big thing, obviously, is the people that I had working with me. For the last couple of months, I said I worked a lot. I've worked mostly solo on the game, but really, Kevin worked a lot kind of at the beginning when we got the demo out, and then Kevin really stepped up and worked a ton the last month and a half, probably, basically almost full time. And Paul was working basically full time. And these guys really stepped up. This game would not have happened without them. That there's no question about that. I would have just gave up or delayed till next year, or something like that. So.
All right, for our last few handful of minutes, or last 10, 15 minutes we got here, is there anything particular you want to show us that you're particularly proud of in the game, or any level?
Yeah, you know what? That's a good question. I think this feature was kind of cool. I added this toward the end, but it's like the equipment database, and it lets you see all the items that are in Depth of Extinction. I feel like that was important to give people a sense of the scale of the game. And what they
definitely that wasn't there last time.
No, that definitely wasn't there, and we also probably didn't have nearly so many items as we did.
No, the scope of this is a lot bigger than last time we took a look at it.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I feel like it's a legit PC game. I mean, it's got issues. There's no doubt about that. I mean, but I think if people realized how small this team is, they would be shocked that we even got this game out. So like I said, I got to give a lot of credit to the people who worked with me on this. And
do you have any visions of going further than PCs, for instance? Any consoles or anything?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we're debating everything right now. I mean, we're already approved for Xbox, so
nice.
I mean, the plan was always to go on at least Xbox and probably PlayStation, assuming we can get the approvals. I feel like we probably can. Sometime early next year, mid next year at the latest. It's possible you'll see it on mobile. I don't know. I had kind of been anti-mobile, but
I feel like this game would work on mobile though. It's got
sounds like a brainstorming session here. How do we make mobile version of this?
So I figured
add more memes.
We'll go with it.
I don't know.
No, make sure you comment in there to our viewers now or later. Make sure if you want to see this game on mobile, make sure you make a comment. There you go.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, if I felt like anyone would buy it, I probably would put it on mobile. But mobile is such a tough market, and it may not be worth it for us. But yeah, I mean, I think console would be really cool. But for right now, we're totally focused on Steam and GOG and just trying to make some updates here and get the game where we want it to be. And then once we feel like the game is complete, feature complete, then we can start talking about maybe some of these other opportunities that may be out there.
All right, how about your favorite level? Or something you want to show off level-wise, gameplay-wise? I
mean, again, it's kind of tricky because this game is random, so I never know exactly what I'm going to get. I'm not going to go to the merchant. Let's see what just comes up here. We'll just roll on in. Oh, another evacuate. What the hell?
So is there a way to back out? Like, let's say, for instance, you didn't want to do this level. Can you back out and change your level?
No, this one we're hosed. I'd have to quit.
I feel like that comes into the actual encounter system.
Yeah, you can't get out of this encounter. You're trapped. That's what we call it, trap.
Yeah, we try to give as much, like on the narrative level, we try to give people as much kind of information that, like, hey, this looks a bit dangerous, and so they kind of know when they're saying, okay, I'm going to explore the facility, or I'm going to
Yeah,
leave.
and you saw me not even read it. I was just going head on.
No,
I think.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, I just, my favorite part of it is kind of, I like the tactical element, but I think also the collecting stuff and like unlocking things. That's the part I like the best. Like doing a level up is pretty fun. I kind of showed that at the beginning, the level up system and the skill trees.
Right.
I didn't unfortunately have one queued up here. Maybe I should have had that. That would have been fun. You could have leveled up somebody.
Well, and you mentioned this earlier in the stream about an upgrade to the UI, and I'm definitely noticing a big difference. For instance, your top right-hand corner, all the different settings you have up there.
Like this?
Yeah, you definitely didn't have any of those options available in your first.
Well, we probably had some of them.
Some of them, no, but it wasn't there.
I didn't have these more sound sliders. Probably, I think I probably had all three of these were just on one, and we had some, people wanting to be able to control the UI effects and the game sound effects and the voice.
And for our starry-eyed game developers, just implementing that alone takes a lot more than just I'm just kind of pointing it out.
Too.
Yeah, it adds
like
a huge value.
Great.
As much as
like
it may be
animation
brushed off, but the animation and everything to this.
Speaking personally, I'm one of those freaks who always adjust the sound sliders like first thing. I'm weird like that.
I'm guilty
a lot of people are. And in fact, one of the bugs we had initially was that you couldn't access this menu in the tutorial, and people were like going nuts over that. They were like, I have to be able to change this stuff.
Well, I mean, even with like your screen setting right there, being able to change the resolution, how many lines of code that took in one of the games that I'm currently working on, is insane. You
can kind of see it when I do it. It does change the resolution some. It kind of scales them down a little bit, and then everything's a little more crisp when I put it on 10.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm complimenting and mentioning it to any of those out there. Who are curious to what goes into making a game, how much work actually goes into just that one function.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like
Kevin, tell them about it.
Kevin, go ahead.
What? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We found a tutorial about how to do screen resolution changes on Windows, Mac, and Linux. It was unpleasant.
How many hours do you think you spent on just the screen resolution setting alone?
Too many.
I think it was at least a day and a half.
Plus what I spent already. I mean, I probably spent a day and a half. Probably. The other thing you got to remember about game development is if you haven't redone it 3 times, you haven't done it enough, and probably you need enough time.
That's truth.
Well, it's funny too because it's so easy to say, but like people forget when you have even a team of like 10 or 15 how massively different that is from working with like essentially one or two people with a couple of side contractors or whatever. It's just even those little tiny challenges like setting and everything else just becomes an all-day project.
Did I just see you have shortcuts like you can keybinds?
Yeah, so you can do everything that's in little orange is a key shortcut. So if I hit escape, it'll close that menu. If I hit the Alt key, it switches between grenade and your weapon.
All right, and then once again, just programming that alone. Ugh. No, thank you.
Oh my gosh, you don't even want to know.
I don't ask.
I mean, like I said, you just end up redoing everything like 3 or 4 times until you finally get it the way you want it. I mean, it's that's the thing. It just that's why it takes so long to make a game, because if you could do it right the first time, it wouldn't take that long. But by the time you know what it is that you want to do, you've already made the game. Then you need to change the game. Then you need to redo everything else because in the changing, you've created a million bugs.
Oh, what? Are you telling me you didn't make your game in just a few nights, sitting in the basement all alone?
I wish
showing the movies.
I wish I could. Yeah.
Next, they're going to want to get paid for this.
Right?
Yeah, seriously, right?
Yeah, you upload it to Steam and you're making millions within 48 hours.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
Let's
That's why I'm
talk
sitting here
about
drinking champagne in my
Let's
name.
not talk about the champagne you're drinking, but let's talk about your launch, because you didn't just launch on Steam. You also did Itch.io and GOG. That sounds like quite a bit of extra work for a small team. Was that worth it? How did that go?
That's actually a really good question. We also did Humble Store too. So I think the key thing there is actually being able to work smart. And in the case of that, it's find good tools. I used a tool called Super Unity Build, and Kevin and I kind of worked on this. Kevin actually ended up refactoring all my build scripts. So I had scripts that I made a long time ago. They're like Ruby scripts actually that do all the uploading and the integration with like itch.io and Steam. And but I needed to do more for GOG. We needed to refactor them a little better because GOG has two different paths that they want you to go. So they have Mac and Windows goes one way, Linux goes another way. It's very complicated. For right now, I would say that GOG is worth it if you can get in there. I mean, it's about 10 to 15% of the sales on Steam. But I mean that can be pretty good. And they gave us a front page featuring, which was really cool.
Nice.
I think we hit number 10 on their sales chart, which was nice. I mean, that was unbelievable. It's pretty cool. You're kind of you're one of their. I think they only had 3 games launching that day. So I mean, compare that to Steam, where you have 20 or 30 games launching on your launch day. And now and we also got featured on Itch. I would say do not have high expectations for Itch right now. It's just mostly about free games at the moment. Humble was surprising though. Humble shocked me.
Humble really exploded in popularity.
Yeah. It's. I think mostly it was that people found out they had a difference in the currency calculation. So it was like €1 to buy there.
So what made you determine to launch on the 27th, other than your birthday? Any influences?
Sorry, I'm getting a little reverb.
Yeah,
Somebody
we're
must
getting an
have
echo from
this.
somewhere.
Yeah.
One of you need to mute your mic if you're not going to talk to me.
Yeah, I've got headphones. So.
Same here. There we go.
There we go. Right.
Then I'm getting poor network connection here now, so I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, we're seeing you.
Yeah, we're still seeing you.
Okay.
So yeah, last few minutes again. If there was, my question was, what made you decide to launch in the late end of September, other than your birthday? And then, of course, in the last couple of minutes, if there's anything else you want to show us.
It was a pretty dumb decision because my wife's birthday is September 27th.
Well, happy birthday to the wife! Congrats on leveling up.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, the bottom line is that as an indie, the earlier in the year you can launch. I mean, September is a great launch window for an indie. I think starting in October, you're getting into AAA territory. I mean, just look at the games that released this week. You can go see for yourself, but there's a ton of games. The one that worried me was Pathfinder Kingmaker. I was worried that might hurt us a little bit, and maybe it did, but I think we did pretty well. We ended up on the new and trending list for most of 4 days, I think, which is pretty cool. So we had a ton of traffic. And sales were pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to avoid the holiday season and really wanted to hit September. So,
Epic Steve on YouTube had said he's been working on a game, but it is very difficult working on everything by his own. So yeah, he's agreeing. Having a team.
And JWX Software, who's our latest GGDA member out of Columbus, says Depth of Extinction looks great, cool. And I'd like to talk about that new and trending. So how do you think you got that? What contributed to that other than your incredible sales that brought in all that champagne you're drinking?
Well, I mean, I think there's only one answer for that question, and it's the wish list numbers. I think you've got to have a pretty high number of wish lists on launch day because that gets a lot of people looking at your page and buying your game. And I mean, I personally have said this numerous times. If you're launching a game on Steam, you better get that coming soon page up as soon as possible. And make sure it's there through at least two of the major sales, the winter sale and the summer sale. You want to hit both of those if you can. That's when you're going to get probably 40 to 50% of your wish lists in those two sales. And if you don't have, I'm not going to tell you the exact number I launched with, but it was a big number. If you don't have at least like 5,000 to 10,000, you should probably wait because you're gonna have trouble if you don't. If you launch with 100 wish lists or 200 wish lists, no one's going to see your page on launch day. I mean,
well, it definitely helps to have first looks on the Georgia Game Developers Association, ain't that right?
I'm sure that helps some. Everything there, yeah. Everything helps.
I will say too, and just to toot Mike's horn a bit more, but it helps to have a game that you put so much love into as well. I mean, like we all have dreams. I think, like we were saying earlier on the stream, that you're going to make a game in a weekend and make $1 million or whatever. But a lot of effort and time went into it, and I think that does pay off. And it's a good thing to remember for younger developers that sometimes you just have to put in time.
I have an interesting anecdote that you're going to love, Andrew. So at Siege in 2015, I showed Kevin Dressel the prototype that would become Depth of Extinction. That was the first time I'd shown it to anyone.
Wow, 3 years ago.
Siege 2015.
I got you, Kevin, doing AI.
Yeah, well, it helped. I knew Kevin before then, but that was when we hung out some more. So
awesome. Speaking of Siege, that's right around the corner. That's this weekend, this weekend coming up. So if you're in the Atlanta area, you're interested in game design and game development, be sure to check out siegecon.net. That's I before E's, SIEG con.net. Any last words, folks?
If you want to see, I'm going to be on a panel. I'm going to be moderating a panel on Sunday on launching a game on Steam. We'll talk more about Steam. You can ask me questions. It won't be just me. It'll be 3 other developers, Kevin included, who have great experience launching games on Steam. We all have a slightly different story. Every game is unique. That's the thing you have to remember. So doing what I did isn't going to necessarily work for you, but maybe hearing 5 or 4 different stories will give you a better idea of what can work.
Hey, well, can we get a good quick look at your homepage or your home screen of the game real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Intro screen. Let's see that real quick. That way I can use that later. There we go. Beautiful. And final words. Credit.
Buy Depth of Extinction if you like it.
Yes, buy Depth of Extinction. Great call.
If
anything else?
Like it.
Yeah, thanks for all the support, and thanks, Mike, for involving me in the project. It's been a pleasure to work on, and yeah, I'm really excited for where it goes from here.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Version set 47.8, huh? I like it. I like it.
What you probably saw was like 25 or 26, I think.
Yeah, what you need is a rebranding. You just need a good 1.0.0 kind of thing.
Nah, I don't like that. I want people to know it's been 47.
Very cool. All right, so next year, around this time, maybe it'll be at the end of the year, whatever. Who knows? We want to talk to you again and take another look at Depth of Extinction and see your success. And now that you will be drinking nothing but champagne.
Nothing but.
All right.
I've got a pitcher of water somewhere.
That is my favorite drink. It's what you've heard me sipping on all night long. 2 H's and 1 O.
You're not. Don't become an indie developer if you want to be sipping champagne. You better find something else to do.
I mean, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of money out of plugging the water.
Maybe if you want to be putting champagne in bags or something on your site.
Andrew, any final last words you want to talk about before we go?
See everyone at Siege. We got workshops Thursday night, including how to start your own indie studio, great art, concept art workshop. One every game dev should attend on how to do spreadsheeting, well, dynamic spreadsheeting. Forget spreadsheeting is like what we live in as a designer. So yeah, make it on out to Siege.
True. All right. Well, thank you very much, Matt, Mike, and God, why do I keep calling you Matt? I don't know. I'm sorry, but everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I think I did that last year. Called you Matt like 6 times. It was ridiculous. Whatever. All right.
Sorry, generic name.
Hoff Studios. Let's say that. Hoff Studios. Thank you so much for tonight's second look. Second look. I'm not sure. Like we can break a leg trying to do that. What were you trying to say something, Drew?
I was going to say next year's game will be Depth of Extinction 2. Hoff Goes Deeper.
There you go.
Maybe.
There you go. All right. Again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Stay tuned for one more little commercial we're going to throw in your face, and we will see you at Siege. Good night, everybody.
The first Georgia Esports League Championship was a great success, with 40 competitors from 6 colleges competing for more than $11,000 in scholarships, as well as bragging rights to being the best in the state. Kennesaw State, Wiregrass Technical, Art Institute of Atlanta, SCAD Atlanta, University of Georgia, and Georgia State University. 3, 2, 1, roll!
Drox has got round the back and took down Devin Allen. Zaradraina's going to get a triple kill.
He's looking for the kill. All he needs is a signature move. One of those fancy, heavy moves.
That's
there it is! He comes it back!
Here comes the dragon punch.
I'm going to mess around too much. The tree is dead. Let's go around the side. KSU! There it is! Mixed with the KO!
So patient,
Can they get the edge guard onto Queen 9? Will they let him?
There it is!
The crowd goes wild. We got a point, boys. KSU is staying in this.
There it is! KSU takes their first game!
There it is.
The Mojo dropping down, and who you gonna call? They're not Ghostbusters, they're from UGA. Here we go. Game 3 now. KSU versus UGA. Here we go. UGA went too cocky. UGA are being punished.
Oh, coming out, that's gonna confirm it!
UGA is your Brawlhalla Georgia Esports League champion. And with that, UGA will take the game, the match, and the state championship for themselves. Congratulations, boys.